Injury update, get started. Jeremy Combs, we did a tightrope procedure on his ankle last week. We got to restabilize his ankle. So he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So that pushes him right up to the start of our first game on November 10th. We did it last Monday, and it's really 6 to 8 weeks from then. So it'll be right around our first game. He could be available. So he had some ankle problems last year at North Texas, and we just didn't feel like it was stable enough for him to make it through the whole season. Our doctors didn't, and we thought this was gave him the best opportunity to play this year, which is what we wanted to do. So, otherwise, team's we're work in progress. We got a lot of work to do as we get started with practice on Friday. We're getting tougher, we're getting grittier. But we've got a lot of work, a lot of things to clean up. But I do think we'll be tougher, we'll be a lot grittier, and we're excited to get going on Friday and kind of get out of the individual development stage and get more into a team stage.
Did you know that Jeremy was going to have a problem when he got here, and y'all just waited to see if it would?
Well, no. I mean, gosh, no. The medical stuff we had gotten said his injury was a little bit better, but I think he'd been working out on it and doing some things on it, but maybe not quite at the pace that we require. And I think once he got here and the pace and that sort of thing, I think his ankle. I think we needed to do this, but not just for here. I mean, for him going long term. I mean, you let this stuff just sit, he's gonna have problems walking at 30 years old, which you don't want for anybody. So, it's more than just getting him ready to play this year. Hopefully, this gives him the best chance to play this year, but also gives him a chance to live a good life when he leaves here.
How about Galen Alexander?
He's recovering. He's at about 75–80% probably from his knee injury. So he does modified workouts, modified conditioning. He's still not back fully ready to go.
How much of the changing the culture and these Friday workouts that we see, the road trips or tests, whatever they're called, just the things you're doing, how is that progressing?
We're making progress. I mean, we're making progress. So, this week's our boot camp week. So we do conditioning boot camp every morning. We had our first one this morning. You got to pass all 3 days to practice on Friday. So if you don't practice, if you don't pass this, you don't practice, and you're not going to play for us. So we did our first one this morning and went well. And
that's the buy-in phase, though. You guys are committed.
Well, I don't know. I mean, buy-in, all that stuff's buzzwords, but there's a new normal. They know what to expect now. They know what the new normal is, and you either do it or you get left behind. And so they're very clear about where our standards are, where we are, and that we're not bending on anything that on our expectations.
Does the condition test change up every single day, or is it the same test 3 days?
No, it's very different every day.
How much of that new normal has bred excitement? Obviously, the fan base is kind of buying in, all right, accepting the new normal, whatever it may be. But are the guys fired up to kind of reach a potential?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, guys, people want to be pushed, and they want to reach their potential, and I think our guys are no different. I like the way, our guys have worked for the most part. We've got some guys who've worked very, very hard, and I think nobody wants to be a loser. So if you give them a map that this is what helps us, this is what helps us win, this is what wins, it's proven that it's won, they'll do it, and especially when they see that they get better. I mean, I think if you asked any of our guys, they'd tell you they're in better shape, they're stronger. Their basketball skills a little bit better. They feel like they've improved. None of this works if they don't feel like they're getting better. And so, I think that's certainly a critical piece to what we're doing.
Any of these other new players, do you expect everybody to be there Friday? Is anybody else dealing with injuries or little things?
No, just Galen and Jeremy. Rochelle tweaked his ankle, but he went through boot camp this morning, so he'd rather do it with the team than try to do it on his own. So he went through it this morning and made it through. So, I mean, the only other guys who won't be there Friday is if you don't if you don't pass the boot camp. Kent, you told him we're letting him in practice Friday, right? Oh, okay.
When you got here, you talked about physical transformation, trying to change their bodies over the summer. How much progress did you see there with those guys?
We made quite a bit of progress. We need more. You always want more, but on average, our guys put on a little over 12 pounds each. We had some guys on some weight loss routines, and they did a nice job. So we made good progress. We want to play fast. We want to play physical. So you got to be in great shape. And you got to be, you got to have some girth to you. But I think a lot of our guys' bodies have changed. Some of the most noticeable ones will be Sims. If you've seen Wade Sims, his body he's changed quite a bit. Skylar Mays has lost some weight. Tried to get him a little more agile. And I think it's helped him with his explosiveness, and Sampson's upper body certainly changed quite a bit. So all our guys have done a good job with the strength and conditioning.
Which guys have impressed you most so far?
It depends on what day. We don't have as much consistency as we need, but I think everybody's had their moments. But peacock today, feather duster tomorrow. So you got to be good every day. You got to be good every day, and you can't rest on what happened. You can't rest on what happened yesterday. So, I mean, there's nobody that you just single out. I'd say our hardest workers, if that's what you're getting at. I'd say Skylar Mays has been one of our hardest workers. I'd say Aaron Epps has been one of our hardest workers, and Duop Reef. I'd say those three have been our three hardest workers. Daryl Edwards has worked really hard, our junior college kid, and Randy, our fifth-year kid. Those since they've gotten here, they've worked hard. But of the returners, I'd say Mays and the two big fellas have worked hard. Epps is playing with a lot of confidence. He's confident because he's been working, so that's good.
What about you? Where's your comfort level, confidence level, where you want to be in this process? And how are you looking at it?
I mean, we're a work in progress. I see it for what it is. I mean, we're a work in progress. I think we've made some big strides with our toughness. Like I said, I think we're getting there with where we want to be with that. I think our conditioning's made some strides, but we've got a lot of work to do. As the coach, I bet statistically we've probably spent about 80% of our time working on defense. I mean, we're really spent a ton of time trying to shore up our defense and just get in a base defense that we can then tweak for each opponent. We've got in, so we've spent about 80% of our time on defense, which is obviously critical. But we started putting in offense about 10 days ago, and we're just kicking the ball all over the gym. So now you're worried about turnovers. So there's there's a give and take with everything that you're doing. I think our defense is much improved. But we still have a ton of work to do there. We got to be able to finish possessions. We got to be able to check out. We got to be able to rotationally check out. We got a lot of work we got to do to finish off possessions with our defense. And then offensively, we got to, but by doing that with our defense, our offense is a little bit behind, a little bit raggedy right now. So we got to get it all going together. So like I said, it's just a work. I mean, we just got a lot of work to do in these next 6 weeks, because what we're doing is pretty different from what they're used to, and so there's an adjustment period with all that.
With the progress you guys have made, how do you expect that conditioning, that toughness to translate these first couple of practices? Are there expectations you have?
Well, I don't want it to translate to the practice. I want to translate to the games. So, I mean, the reality is you're going to be, if we're doing what we're supposed to do, you're going to be in, a lot of 6-minute games. It's going to be 2 or 3 possessions with 6 minutes to go in the game. You're either going to figure out a way to win, or you're going to kind of whimper your way down the stretch and get blasted. And so we want to be able to be in great shape in the last 6 minutes, and we want to be able to be mentally tough where we can execute and physically pound people in the last 6 minutes of the game. That's what it boils down to. How tough you're going to be, how you're going to make something, you're either going to make an excuse or you're going to make a play. And so we want guys that are going to make a play because they've been working hard and know that that's the expectation. That's what they want to do.
Well, how do you go about developing toughness? Is that the expectation level of the players when you're with them?
Yeah, you get what you allow. So you explain to them, this is how it's going to be done. and if it's not done this way, you keep doing it till you get it done the way you want it done. I mean, it's not. I mean, you know, I'm not teaching rocket science in there. I mean, it's pretty basic, simple stuff. You just do it well and do it right.
How's Tasman working out in that role?
Tasman's been great. You know, he's a really good filter for our guys. He's been great with Brandon Rochelle. Brandon Rochelle really respects him and looks up to him. Rochelle's going to be able to help us this year. He's a freshman. He's going to be able to help us. He's tough. He defends. He knows what he's doing. He was well coached by his high school coach, Micah Coleman. He did a real good job with him. He's going to be able to help us. But Tasman's really helped him, just in terms of making sure he's doing what he needs to do, understanding what he needs to do. He's really been beneficial with him.
Talk about Samson, upper body transformation. He got some good reviews out of the Chris Paul deal. How have you seen him kind of evolve as a player through the summer?
Well, he's guarding a little bit. You know, he's got to be able to guard. He's got to be able to rebound. I mean, he's a 6'6" guard, so you got to be able to do multiple. You got to be able to do multiple things. I think putting weight on his upper body was important because, you know, we're going to be running him off some screens and he's going to be moving around a little bit. You don't want him to be bounced around like a pinball. I mean, you got to have somebody who's sturdy and can get through screens and make things happen for you. But he's put in the work, and you know, we need to show up on game day with him.
They weren't very strong down low, especially with Duop and Aaron. How much have they put on specifically?
Well, I mean, we've got some concerns down low. I mean, we're not the biggest team down low. It's my job. I got to scheme around all that. I mean, we're not going to be a team. Last year at VCU, we were top 10 in the country in points in the paint. We just annihilated the paint through post touches and driving the ball. I mean, that's not going to be. I mean, that's not the type of team we're going to be. We're going to have to adjust what we do. We're just not going to be able to just throw the ball in there and just live in the paint off of post feeds. Now, we do want to get the ball in the post, but it's my job to put our post guys where we can get the ball on the move, which is areas where they're good. We've got some real strengths with those guys. Aaron Epps can really shoot the ball, and he's a really, really good offensive rebounder. So I got to put him in positions where he can get open shots, and I got to put Epps in position where he can fly in there and crash the glass. With Wop, he's really good catching the ball on the move. He's really good when he's got space in the middle, so I got to put him in positions where he's catching the ball on the move and got space in the middle. We can't just say we're just going to pound it in. I mean, we're not going to beat anybody just throwing it in there. And you know, we've got to compensate for where our strengths and weaknesses are, and that's on me to put our guys in the best position to play to their strengths. But Wop can score with his back to the basket. The freshman Kerr, he's not a great scorer with his back to the basket, but he plays with a phenomenal amount of energy. And so when he's out there, something's going to happen, either good or bad. He's going to make something happen. You know, and so, you know, he's somebody we got down there, you know, with the Combs situation. You know, we'll see what happens. He's somebody we were certainly counting on. And we spent a lot of time, you know, Sims is a versatile kid. We spent a lot of time kind of cross-training him. He's trained really at the 3 through the 5. And so we've spent a lot of time training him. And if we got to play with 5 guys on the perimeter and him at the 5, we'll do that and figure out how to stop somebody. So we've got a lot of different ways we've been cross-training these guys to compensate for that.
How much has Duop picked up the game since you've been here?
I think it's just, you know, naturally he's played more, he's been around it more. He's a phenomenal kid, and he wants to be so good. He's like I say, he's one of the hardest workers we have. Absolutely love him as a person and as a player. He's going to have a really good year for him. Sometimes he's his own worst enemy. He's so hard on himself, but he's learning how things work, why things work, why you got to do this, why it's important to, you know, open your hips this way, why it's important to post a certain way. There's a lot of little intricacies I think he's learned that'll help him out this season that maybe he hadn't picked up in the past.
You see some videos of you out visiting with students and kind of telling them about the game and everything. What can you say about, you know, this generation kind of getting back in that building and supporting the sport?
Well, we're trying. You got to recruit everybody, right? So we got you know, we want the students to be involved in what we're doing. I think that's important. I mean, our kids are students. We want the students to be involved, and so I've tried to reach out to them and anybody else that'll listen to me you know, to get people involved and excited about our program. So I think we've got a great opportunity November 10th. You know, it's a Friday night. I know high school football will still be going on, but it's also, you know, the night before we have a big football game, and I think we've got a chance to really have a good crowd that night and set the tone as we move forward here. But it's been fun getting to know the students. I've learned a lot about Louisiana geography because I always ask them where they're from. And it's one thing I found out down here. Everybody tells you where they're from, and they tell you their high school. And I found that out. But I'm slowly learning. From Tennessee, it takes me a minute. But you know, it's been fun to get out and meet folks.
You're not gonna have exhibition games. You prefer to do scrimmages?
We're doing 2 close scrimmages. I felt like in the past I've done 1 close scrimmage, 1 exhibition. I felt like with this team we needed the close scrimmages because we need to kind of, you know, I'm not quite sure we'll be ready for showtime November 4th, which would be the date of the exhibition, or November 3rd or 5th. So I thought like with this group it'd be best if we do the two scrimmages.
Maybe make them focus more without people around. Is that part of it too?
That, and just in the scrimmages you can stop and teach, and we need to stop and teach. And so I'm doing the scrimmages with two coaches I'm very good friends with. So we've kind of agreed that we're going to stop and teach. And, you know, you can format the scrimmage how you want. You don't have to play a full 40 minutes. You don't have to. You can do a lot of different things. You can do some situational stuff. There's just you have a lot more say-so on what you can do than just throwing the ball up and playing a game. So I think for our group, we'll get more out of the scrimmages than we would have gotten out of, you know, playing an exhibition game. In the future, if it makes sense to play an exhibition game, we played exhibition games the last couple of years. If it makes sense to play an exhibition game, we'll play an exhibition game. But it didn't for this year's team.
How is the first week gonna go? You gonna practice Friday, obviously, Saturday?
We're going to practice Friday. We're going to take off Saturday because of the football game. It's gridlock. You can't get anything done around here. So we're going to take off Saturday. We're going to go twice on Sunday. We'll practice Monday and Tuesday, take off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
When it comes to defense and your philosophy, is it kind of offense can have a good night and a bad night, but defense can always be there?
Yeah, your defense gives you a chance to win. I mean, you got to be able to guard somebody. You know, we're going to be, you know, we're a good shooting team. We can shoot the ball. That's one of our strengths. But when you rely on shooting, there can be some nights where it's not good. That's why offensive rebounding is a big part of what we do, and you got to be able to guard. If you're going to win games on nights where you don't shoot the ball well, you're going to have to be consistent defensively, and you're going to have to be able to rebound the ball. So I think it gives you a chance every night if you're at least competent in those areas. That's why we've put a lot of time into it.
What have you seen from Tremont Waters so far? Just in what kind of role can he play?
Yeah, Waters is, you know, he's good with the ball in his hands. You know, he's electric. He can make plays. You know, he's got to continue to improve defensively. He's got to continue to improve when he's off the ball. You know, but he wants to learn, and he's trying to improve and get better.
Do you have an idea about how you want to use him and Sky?
Well, in the past, we've played 2 point guards together. I think that's the way to go. I like playing 2 point guards together, 2 guys who can handle the ball together. I just think there's a lot of positives that come from that, especially when you got one of them who can score and one of them who can shoot it, which Mays can shoot it. So I think that makes some sense. Randy can play some point guard for us. Darrell Edwards can play some point guard for us. So we've got a group of 4 guys who can play multiple spots for us. And it would, if I had a choice, I'd play 2 of them together. Now they got to earn it, and we got to make sure that that's the right thing to do. But if I had a choice, I'd play 2 together. That's my preferred way to play.
You brought up that emphasis on defense. How much of that has been installing your scheme, and how much of it has just been breaking down bad habits?
Well, we haven't spent a whole lot of time on what's gone on in the past. We've been moving forward. So really it's just been about installing our scheme, the base of what we're going to do, how we're going to do things. And, you know, then we'll obviously add some twists on it when we get into scouting and those type things on an individual game-by-game basis. But it's really just been installing our base scheme, about what we're going to do.
Big picture wise, the resources that you have here, I guess the roster that you have, do you feel like it's what you thought it was? Do you feel you can win with it, you know, in the long term? Where are you at with that?
What do you mean?
Are you pleased, you know, I guess with the move? Is there anything that's holding you back that you feel like, you know, wow, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be?
Well, I mean, I feel like we've turned the roster over about as, you know, we've done what we can. We've worked as hard as we could. There's maybe one move I messed up on. I should have done something a little bit different. And I'm always critical. I look back at myself, and I think I could have positioned us maybe a little bit better on one other thing. But you know, you got to move on. You got to go so hard that you make up for it. So you know, I think we've done as fine a job as we can with the roster. You know, from when we took over to now, and then we certainly want to continue to shape the roster moving forward.
Outside of that, though, you got your weight guy, you got your video guy. You feel like those parts are.
Yeah, I feel good about our staff. I mean, we certainly have some infrastructure things here that we've got to work on. But I feel good about our staff. I think I've got a tremendous staff. You know, there's some real strengths, but there's some stuff that we've got to get up to par with other folks.
You want an office here? Do you feel comfortable elaborating on what you like? What's the wish list?
Well, I mean, you know, I think it's a good question. I try to dodge that first one and talk about our players. I mean, our administration knows how I feel about what I think we need to continue to move forward. I mean, I think there obviously needs to be some work done on our arena here. I think there needs to be some work done on our practice facility here, and I think there needs to be some work done with some of the nuts and bolts of how the program functions. And so, you know, I've had candid discussions about what I feel like needs to happen, and they've been very receptive and open, and you know, I think we'll be able to move forward on some things if we want to be championship level program, which I think we all want to do. We didn't come here to, you know, get participation trophies.
I know it's early, but are you seeing any leaders emerge from this team? And if so, who?
Yeah.
Is this the week where they show themselves?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Yeah, we've got some guys who are showing some leadership capabilities. You know, I think, you know, people like to name captains. I think your team kind of picks the captains by who works the hardest, who does what they're supposed to do, who's consistent with what they do. You know, some guys are good one day, not as good another day. So, who are the most consistent guys? I think that's how your team ends up coming to the captains. But I feel like we've got a couple guys that have earned the respect and have earned the right to position themselves to be captains with our team. I think Duop is somebody who a lot of guys look to. I think Skylar Mays is somebody. I mean, just look at the list of the guys I just reeled off who are the hardest workers. You can't tell. Listen, if you're going to be a captain, you're going to be a leader. I can't. All right, you got a deadline to write that by 5 o'clock, right? Or whatever it is.
I'm on the radio at 50.
Huh?
I'm on the radio at 50.
Perfect. All right. So if I tell you got to show up at 2:50 for your radio gig, right? And I got to be there at 2:50, but I show up at 2:55, and then I jump you for not being there at 2:50. I can't do that to you because I didn't show up and do what I was supposed to do, right? So the first step in being a leader is you got to take care of your own house. You can't tell other people to work hard or tell other people where they're doing wrong if you're not doing the right stuff, right? So if you're one of the hardest workers, that gives you an opportunity to have a leadership position on the team. Don't be late to your gig. Speaking of. Well, there you go. There you go. See, you're a leader, Cody. You're a leader. You got leadership. You got leadership capabilities. It's been great. Did he tell y'all I beat him in bowling? I'm just kidding. Kid's been awesome. He's been fun. We're getting a little more social media savvy, right, Kent?
Somebody put that on Facebook Live.
We got him a little more social media savvy. He's in good shape. He's been great. It's been a lot of fun working with him, meeting everybody in Baton Rouge. I look forward to working with you guys, and be a fun year. Be up and down. I'll give you what I think, and no sugarcoating. We'll get ready to go.
Anything else?
All right.
Thanks.